So we're here all together and we're tuning into this frequency of being wild, wise, and free. And we want to invite you to ask yourselves, when was the last time you felt truly alive, free, and connected to yourself? Because it's that human connection to our selves and to the world around us. If I were to ask Tania, Sammie, Jacke, you know, why wild, wise, and free resonates with them, here's what they would say.
So wise, wild, and free. What it resonates within me is the fact that we have been, as women, people of the world, um, that we are, there's been a constriction, there's been a limitation of our existence. So for me, that part of allowing whatever it is that is within us to shine through. It is giving us that permission, that freedom, okay, to express and a freedom to shine our light in a wild that is natural. It's not like wild, like savage, and it's natural. It's a wildness that is naturally wild, that we are free, and that there's this deep, deep wisdom within ourselves when we are connected on all of those levels. That is just, that you want to tap into, you want to cultivate that more and more, so that um, we can express ourselves authentically.
It's a state of mind, that freedom of not concerning yourself with what is the right thing to say, what is appropriate, what's the best way to act, when it's really just being true to what feels natural to you, and really just not thinking about other people's perception of you. I remember my mom telling me a story about when I was like 3 years old, how we had gone to this outdoor concert. And she said, I ran up to the front of the stage, right in front of the stage, and I was just dancing. And I think about that story a lot, and how I had no idea what anyone was thinking of me. I was just in the moment. I was just feeling the music and living life to its fullest. And that's where I want to get back to. That's where I'm trying to get back to. That's where I want other women to get back to. And I think it's there's such a lightness when you let go of all that. And for me, just to tie in the photography piece to it, I want to capture that, because sometimes I feel like we have to see it before we can be it. And it's almost like that, not fake it till you make it, but just sometimes seeing yourself, actually being able to see yourself being free and being light and being in the moment, is it helps you to actually be it. So when we do these photo shoots and we encourage women to let go and be free and have fun and be playful, and then they get to see themselves afterwards in those images, it really resonates with them that I am that way still. I can be that way. And so to me, that's what it is. It's letting go of all the cares in the world and really being in that moment.
Not only it's just you and yourself, but being able to be on a retreat, sharing that experience, and allowing others to also open up. And as we open up, others open up, and there's that safe space within a context of a retreat to be able to express that in a very safe context and allow that to show. And then it's like, oh, and how that feels. And you can hold on to that feeling and then replicate that again and again and again. Whereas it might, when you express it somewhere else, it might sort of, you might still have that exterior judgment of that, you know, that person who's in your family who might say, oh, whatever, you know, that's not you. But you're allowed, there's a permission, you know, that's why you come on a retreat like this, is so that we allow you, we encourage that to come out and see what comes out.
Yeah.
I hope that wasn't the last time that you felt that, Jackie, when you were
When I was 3. And I was trying to think about it as I first read the question. I was like, when would that have been? I definitely am feeling it more and more, you know, this whole year, I've been really feeling it more and more, and really trying to be conscious of that I am not letting these other external pressures weigh me down, other external expectations, you know, so but I don't think there's been like an event. Like I can't think of an event where I felt free. I think it's more of a daily just releasing, shedding these layers. And so daily just feeling more and more free. And you?
I honestly, I try and feel that way almost every day, to a point where, because I also feel it's not only external pressure,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the limitation comes from within.
Yes, that's very
And
true.
so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm looking at. Where is it that
Mm-hmm.
I'm holding me back?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's cultivating that discernment of saying, okay, you know, just do I just want to dance in a supermarket when the
Right.
music is like, you know, and then just see people's reactions. And some people look at you and it's like, man, this woman's lost it.
Yeah.
Or they might start dancing with you. Who knows? You know, but I think everybody, we're all taking this life so seriously.
Yeah.
And maybe we can be that generator of that life that you were talking about, that wise and wild and free person that is just, you can do it anywhere at any time.
Mm-hmm.
The feeling comes from within.
Right. Right. Yeah. I echo that, what you're saying, because I was talking about externally these pressures, but you're right, so much of it is internal, these internal pressures and judgments that we place on ourselves, and just letting that go.
Never felt so connected than when I found the practice of yin yoga.
Mm,
And I know Tanya and I talk about yin a lot because we both have this desire, this like passion within about it. And Tanya has gone on to really practice and teach it. Um, but it's that slowing down, that permission
mhm.
to be in the moment, as we're talking
Yeah.
about being in the moment, and letting go of the rat race and the busy mind.
Yeah.
Oh, I've got to have dinner. Oh, what am I going to eat? Oh, I have to do this. Oh, we need to call so and so, you know, like, oh, I forgot to, oh, make sure. Yeah, you know, your mind is just constant. And if you do know your human design or your gene keys, if you work with those frameworks, you know, and you can have an open head, and I have an open head, like in my design, and I'm constantly just thinking and being creative and just in this creative zone, which is beautiful. But sometimes you just want to just, you know,
Mm-hmm.
still and not have those and not just think anything. There's something about knowing or understanding yin and yang better and what harmony truly means, and that it's not a one size fits all,
Mm-hmm.
and that everyone is really trying to learn and practice what feels good for them and not everybody else. Even with yin, also understanding the fascia. And when I met Tanya, you know, Tanya she started to share with me so much information about water, about, you know, a deeper understanding of yin, fascia, what it means and how water really plays a role in our internal body, because we're talking about the inside out. When you think about water and its ability to be fluid, its connotation with emotion, adaptability, I really want to get into that power of water and how we can harness it. Tania, can you shed some light on this and get into this conversation a bit more?
I'd love to. I'm so passionate about it. Do you know, I just want to reflect a little bit on what you were saying, Natalia, because I was having a conversation with my sister this morning, and, she's got 3 kids, a husband, a business, and, she's busy, 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 busy. And she said, I just don't have time. And I said, take 2 minutes, 2 minutes in your day to just stop, have a cup of tea, smell the tea, look around, connect with your breath. 2 minutes, sip your tea, maybe 5 if she can, and then go on your run. Carry on, boom, boom, boom. But you need to take those times to slow down and to cultivate a little bit of that yin, because otherwise, we've got our nervous system is the polyvagal nervous system. So we've got the parasympathetic and the sympathetic. So basically, the parasympathetic is the one that helps us rest and restore. And they call it the vagus nerve, which is in this area around it actually goes through our whole head, comes down through here, connects to our hearts and all of our internal organs. And we're actually starting to call it now, not the vagus nervous system. It's more like the harmonious system. So we call it our harmonious system. So we need to take some time in our lives, in our busy lives that we have, to just stop, the proverbial stop and smell the roses, but it's just taking that time to really sit down. Because what are we doing when we take from a water perspective? What our waters are doing is, like, if we have a storm, it's like internally we've got a storm going on the whole time, and that's exhausting. So if you come down and you allow the waters just to settle, whatever you're doing, all of those particles are going to come down, and then we'll have clearer vision. We'll be able to see better. So we need to stop, take that moment in a day, and, really cultivate a little bit of that yang. I'm sorry, a little bit of the yin from the yang. So the yang is the act, and we're action, action, action. And everything is, created so that we're stimulated. There's always the stimulation. Whereas there is it's like nature. Nature goes through a winter. That's the time when it goes in winter, and that's water. It's the yin, it's the darkness. And what comes out of that is going to be yang, but the quality of it is going to be very different than if we haven't taken that moment to actually slow down. There's been some experiments, the scientific experiments, where they're using water, and I can't remember the names, but anyway, I'll find out about it. But they're actually using water to create energy. And they found out, these super expensive machines, they found out that water needs to rest for half an hour every periodic time, because otherwise water will actually burn the machinery. That's when we go into burnout. So if this happens in a machine, we are water. We are 99% water from a molecular count. Our bodies need that time to rest.
Yeah.
Einstein came up with his theory of relativity when he was sitting underneath a tree. That's when inspiration can come in, because we're not just always busy, busy, busy. There's no space. You need an empty cup to be able to fill it. So it's kind of like emptying our cup. So as we sip our tea, our cup gets emptier, and then it's like, oh, okay, what's in this? What is in this emptiness? How can I fill this now from a very different space?
I know you work a lot with the sound bowls, and you do some sound healing, and you also combine water with sound. Tap into a little bit about that creative flow and how sound impacts or heals our internal waters.
Okay, I love it. And I just wanted to finish by taking those still moments. That's what we practice in yin yoga. So obviously in the yin, we hold a pose for anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes. And that's what happens in that space. That is absolutely beautiful. So once we've practiced this, and once we've allowed our harmonious system to tap in, our bodies are more primed. In fact, when we are nervous, when we are in anxiety, when we're living with the hormones of stress, everything contracts. So our DNA contracts, our muscles contract, our veins, everything contracts. We become contracted. We don't expand. electromagnetic frequency around us when we're living in fear just shrinks down to a small thing, and then we're walking around, and then we're going to be bombarded by all sorts of things that are happening to us. So what we do when we are having a session of yin or any form of relaxation, then we apply the sound, these healing frequencies. What happens is that, and it's proved by, I wish I had, I'll get the images out so that you can see them at some point so that we can share those. But what happens is that there's actually, when our waters are exposed to the healing frequencies, what happens is that our waters become more structured. They become the formation, because otherwise they're all over the place. But otherwise, imagine like a snowflake that is just like shattered. So what happens is that it kind of forms this beautiful formation, this geometric, sacred geometry within ourselves, and it becomes more structured. Our water becomes more structured. And so it has a deep effect on our internal waters. It calms our mind. Okay, so when we do have these beautiful, alchemical singing bowls or the Tibetan bowls, they've been doing this for centuries, the Tibetan bowls. Now the alchemical ones are coming out now, but it's crystal, it's high frequency, and it's crystalline. And we are actually, within our fascia is the water, that crystalline structure that is within ourselves, that is holding, it's like a highway of information and light that is going through our body. So what happens is that when we relax it, this opens, and so everything begins to flow. And when we are in the flow state, what happens is that we are much more creative, we're much more understanding, we're more empathetic, we are more joyful, we're happier, we are just very different human beings than we are when we're constricted. I learn from everybody, and then it's like all makes sense, and then it's like, then when
Does
you
make sense. Yeah.
practice, it's like, wow, this is what's happening, and it's just all, for me, I'm fascinated by it. Fascinated.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Completely fascinated, and just passionate about sharing it, really.
Yeah.
When you're doing your wild and free photography, we often talk about age just not even being a factor. It's all about feeling the way you feel unapologetically, moving the way you want, talking the way you want, singing the way you like, dancing dancing all the way you like, and just really being your confident whole self. I want to know from your experience how that session can shift self-perception and really foster confidence and that inner knowing of I am here and this is who I am.
I think one of the most common responses I have when people first see their pictures is, wow, I didn't know I could look like that. Or like, wow, I can't believe that's me. And I think a lot of that comes from, we're busy, we're rushing, and we catch glimpses of ourselves in these moments. I don't know if you guys have ever done this. I look at myself in the car reflection as I'm getting in the car, and you see yourself in the window and you're like, oh, I look horrible. You've got like, it looks like bags. It's not a great light. And you're looking at yourself wherever, passing by the mirror, and you're just thinking like, oh, I look tired or whatever it is. And we're not catching ourselves maybe at our best moments. And that's what we think we look like. But what we really look like when we're smiling, when we're happy, Tanya, I love what you just said about like when you're contracting, when you're nervous or anxiety, everything contracts. And so I'm assuming that the opposite of that is that you're feeling good and everything is expanded, and it does come out in the photos when you're feeling good about yourself and everything is open. And so in these photo shoots where you are maybe out in nature and it's beautiful lighting, and we're just capturing these moments of you when you're really shining. And then when women see themselves, they realize like, wow, I really am beautiful. I mean, there's nothing more beautiful in my mind than someone smiling and feeling good. And so sometimes we just need that reminder, like, yeah, this this is me. I am beautiful. Look at that smile. Look at that twinkle, you know, and just feeling like um, there's still so much life and beauty inside of me, and it has nothing to do with age. And I think sometimes we just need to be reminded of that, that we're still so beautiful. We're such beautiful creatures. I mean, it's just amazing that we are humans and can just be here and to laugh, to have fun, you know. I think we forget about that part of us and just seeing it again. And then, I mean, it doesn't hurt that we're in these beautiful gowns and there's wind blowing our hair. But yeah, it's a real good visual of ourselves in our natural beauty.
As you were kind of describing it, I couldn't help but think about where we're going to be in May and just the whole ambiance of being on the top of a mountain, surrounded by the sea, mountains, forests, completely green, and just in such a beautiful space where there's nowhere to be, there's nowhere to
Hmm.
go, there's just
Hmm.
that present moment.
Yeah,
There's no judgment, there's no expectation. It's just you, yourself, and you, and it's surrounded by, other beautiful souls that are wanting to experience the magic of themselves.
yeah.
And, you know, being able to recognize themselves again.
Hmm.
I know sometimes you can get to a point, and it doesn't matter if it's in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 100s,
Yeah,
whatever, where, you feel, oh gosh, like, do I really have to start over?
yeah.
Or, oh gosh, like everything's so different. Or, gosh, I thought things would be different.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you have these thoughts that then lead you to either feel disappointed or unfulfilled or sad. And then suddenly you have this realization that you are in control. You are choosing to be on the path of, oh, woe is me. And I'm not saying that you shouldn't be there for a moment, because we all need to feel all the feels,
Hmm.
whatever vibration they come in. But it's feeling grateful for those lower times in life where we have these opportunities to say, hang on, I can change. This will not last forever.
Hmm.
I've been here before. I
Yeah.
can do it again. How many examples are there in history of people, regardless of age, starting over, starting a new business, going with their passion? Vera Wang, I love her story. It's in her 60s. She created an absolute empire with her fashion. And that, like, she's not the first one. So, when we talk about a day in the life of Wild, Wise, and Free, it is a daily walk, but we want to invite you to spend a few days with us, walking the walk and talking the talk, and really embracing, embodying that wild, wise, and free. And so I want to invite Jackie to talk about what a day in the life of being wild, wise, and free is for you.
The mindset. I mean, I have been a very anxious person for, I want to say 25 years. And I feel like this is the first year, which is crazy to say, but this is the first year that I'm actually feeling not that way. And and we've talked a little bit about this, but it's been a process of letting go and shedding a lot of things and unbecoming a lot of things. But yeah, I think a day in the life of Wild, Wise, and Free is really being authentic just to what I feel, what I believe, what lights me up, and trying to let that be guiding me and not the other externals that have guided me in the past. And it yeah, it really is more of a mindset. And it's funny because we talk a lot about movement. So like definitely if I get up and walk the dog first thing in the morning, it changes the day. That getting out there and moving. So starting from the very first moment of doing the right things to put me in that mindset. And that's where, I'm excited about the retreat because I feel like um, it's going to really drive that home for me that I need to do that every day. And when I don't do it, it's just a different day for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably a mindset. I think just letting
Yeah.
go of those things.